Hey ladies, Sian Britton here. I am your private practice growth and marketing expert. And today we are talking about a concept that I talk a lot with my clients in my Success Without Sacrifice program about, and that is becoming the kind of person that you need to become for your business to hit your goals for the future. That sounds like a bit of a strange concept. Like, what do you mean that I need to become someone, Sian? But what I see in the various different levels of people that I work with in private practice, everything from the ladies I used to work with who were just starting out, right up to the ladies that I work with who have 2.5 million turnover practices, is that there is a person that you need to become to reach that level. And there's different things that are needed at each level to overcome or to develop in yourself in order to move to that next level of business. And the mistake that people make is that they think that the business will grow and they just run behind and catch up. And that will kind of work to start off with, but only because you're already ready for that level of business. So let's say you open a practice and you're really confident that you can build a practice with you, fill your caseload, and you're ready to go and you step into it and you run. The business is going to grow and you are going to be following behind it, but only because you're ready for that stage of business. There comes a point though, which is the limit of your mindset of where your capacity is for what you can receive and what you're ready to have and what you feel like you deserve and can receive, right? So this is this very feminine concept of receiving and being in flow and expansion. And it's really important when it comes to your business, because when I see people stuck in their business, it isn't because they don't have the systems and processes and strategies to move forward. They don't always have the best ones, and sure, there's some trial and error going on, but they have enough that they could move from where they are to the next 100,000, 200,000 in their practice. The reason they stay stuck though is because they don't believe that they can have that, or they just haven't yet made the leap to be that person for the business to catch up. So I talk with my clients about this concept that originates from something called Kaizen, which is a philosophy that was developed in Japan in the 1950s in the post-war era. And it's all around like small incremental improvements and how they compound over time to create a huge impact on production in this example. So the Japanese wanted to become the best manufacturing giant of the world, and they knew the only way they could do it was to get really, really good at doing it and to prolifically create things at a cost point that couldn't be done anywhere else in the world and in a volume that couldn't be done anywhere else in the world, so that they could compete. And so what they used to do was anybody who saw anything in their production line that could be improved, they would shut the whole production line down and trial it. Like, they'd implement the thing, they'd open the production line, they'd see if it made it better or worse. And they did this all day, every day, if things came up that could seem to be improved. What that meant was that over a year or two, they nailed their production process so that it was the most efficient, effective process going, and they became the prolific producers they wanted to be. So how does this relate to you as a woman in your private practice today? That same concept has become a kind of life philosophy of the 1%ers. Like, if you improve the 1% in your life, in your business, in your health, the overall impact of that is massive because they compound on each other. So it's not like 1% plus 1% plus 1%. If you change three things, it becomes 1% and then 3% and then 5% to give a much bigger improvement. So what I talk about with clients is that you can't just say, I'm going to be $1 million practice owner, because if you're not there yet, like we talked about before, I think it was in an email, last week, if we talked about last week, your thoughts and beliefs are going to stop you from taking the actions that are needed to grow your practice to that point. So this philosophy, the Kaizen philosophy, and we call it the incremental upgrade plan, makes it really easy to make those changes to grow into the person you need to become, and tricks your brain into thinking that nothing's happening. So how does this work in reality? It's about expanding what you feel you deserve and what you feel your life should look like, not just in your business, but in your life as well. So that as over time, what you believe you deserve and what you believe you're capable of and what you believe will show up in your life expands. And so I did this with my clients using the PDF assessment, what do we call it? Plan assessment that you can grab the free PDF of, just comment below and we will share it with you. What it has you do is go through every area of your life and your business and score yourself as to whether the thing is currently okay. So it just is the way it is and you tolerate it, even though it maybe isn't how you want it to be, or it's inconvenient, or it's a really cheap choice that you've made. Then there is good, which is like, I consciously decided that I wanted to have fluffier towels, or I didn't want to buy the 99-cent shampoo. I buy the $5 shampoo because I want to use nicer shampoo. That would be good because you have consciously chosen to upgrade from something that just covers your needs. So let's continue with the shampoo example because it's easy. So the 99 cents is like the bargain basement one that you can get that really strips your hair more than cleans it. Good would be if you chose, let's say, L'Oreal, because it's a supermarket brand, it's a little bit more, and it does a better job. You then have the better, which would be, let's say, like Bedhead or Redken or any of those kind of premium shampoo brands that you're not buying in the supermarket. You're having to go somewhere else to get them. That would be your better, because it's an upgrade from the good level, right? So good is a conscious upgrade. Better is like, I'm paying more on this. This is getting towards being more luxury. And premium is the next level, which is like, this is the most that I want to spend on this thing, and it's the most high quality thing for me that I see value in. So it isn't always about spending the most amount of money. When I did this with clients, many of them were like, I don't value getting my hair cut at all. Like, I go down the road, I pay $20, she cuts my hair, it's fine. So for them, that's good, and they're not ever interested in making that any different. But for other women, they were like, no, my hair thing, getting my hair done is really important to me. And for me at the moment, that's good, but there's a salon down the road that's even nicer than the one I go to. And that would be my better. And premium would be like having a celebrity stylist do it. And they value that. So that's important for them. It's not even always about money, right? So sometimes it's just about things that you're tolerating. So there's a whole piece in this sheet about your relationships and how they are. Like, there's no cost to those, but it's the same thing. Like, what you tolerate in one place says a lot about what you'll tolerate everywhere. Now, as you go through this, you might find that it's a bit like, oh, wow, I really am not doing a lot of the things that would make me happy in my life. And I don't want you to beat yourself up if that's what you find, because this is about incrementally upgrading to become that next person. And we can't start to upgrade if we don't know where we're at. So please don't judge yourself or beat yourself up if you find that everything is okay at the moment. When I first created this, everything was okay for me. And it's only in the process of like knowing where things were at and objectively looking at it and being aware of where my life was at and saying, you know what, I want to make this better. I want to improve these areas. I don't want all my relationships to be okay because I'm so busy with work that I don't have time to invest in them. I want them to be better, and I want them to be premium. I want them to be really good. So what are some things that I can do to start to move these forward? Because that's the goal of this. We want you to do the plan so you can see where you are right now, to have the conscious awareness of what needs to change for you to start to change your life so that it starts to become more like your dream life. Because when you get to your dream life and when you start to take the steps to build your dream practice and you stop tolerating things, it will all catch up with you. So when I first started doing this, if any of you have read my story, it was the point where I was moving dollars around in my bank accounts to try and get $15 together to buy a bottle of wine after a really shitty week. And I did this plan. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I want to have a plan of like how I can change things. I'm just going to change one thing at a time. So one of the first things I shared with the ladies that I changed was I stopped buying the cheapest Schweppes tonic from the supermarket, because as you'll have seen, I like gin and tonic. I stopped buying the cheapest Schweppes and I just started buying the next level up. So I started buying Fever Tree tonic, and it was, $6 instead of $1. And it felt like a lot at the time, but I made that small change and I started to, get some more joy and pleasure out of the experiences I was having in my life, which again, are being more in that feminine energy. And from that, it became more normal for me. I became the kind of person who drank Fever Tree tonic. And I know that sounds really silly and unimportant, but if you do that in 10 different things in your life in this next 3 months, that you go from being the kind of person who drinks Schweppes to the kind of person who drinks Fever Tree, or the kind of person who buys the supermarket's cheapest shampoo to the kind of person who buys L'Oreal, what you believe you deserve will expand. And then it won't seem so extraordinary to then think, maybe that bed head's on offer at $12 a bottle. I'm spending $6 anyway. I think I'm going to try the bed head. Oh, it's so nice. This feels so good, so luxurious. I think I'm just going to keep doing that. And you'll get to the point over time, this isn't like a quick fix, right? But over years, you'll get to the point where you look back and your life will be unrecognizable and your business will be unrecognizable, because what you were willing to tolerate and what you were willing to have your life look like progressively is expanded through that Kaizen philosophy of incremental upgrades. If we change one thing here and one thing here and one thing here and one thing here, and we do that every week, within a year, you've upgraded 52 things in your life. And if you do that for a number of years, your life will be unrecognizable and your business will be unrecognizable. And you won't have created any incongruence in the process. Because here's the thing, if you go out today, let's say you have $20,000 in your bank account, but it's just sitting there. But if you went out today and spent that $20,000 on all designer clothes and shoes, and that's not something that you normally do, maybe normally you buy your clothes at Target, it won't be fun. You think it'll be fun, but actually, it might be fun buying them, but afterwards you'd start to feel guilty and you'd start to think, well, I don't want to wear them because they're really expensive, and what if they get ruined? And we could have gone on a holiday with that money, and like maybe I should have put it into my business. And they will start to feel really yucky when you get home, because you're not yet the kind of person who has built their life and their wealth and their income to a point where spending $20,000 on designer clothes is just normal to you. In the way at the moment, spending $100 in Target is probably like, oh yeah, $100, we do that on the regular. That feels normal to you. And you can't just jump from spending $100 at Target to $20,000 in Gucci, because there's this huge gap between where you are now and that place. What this process does is incrementally move you from Target to, this isn't going to make sense to the US ladies, but for Australia, like from Target to Forever New, from Forever New into David Jones, from David Jones into maybe like the lower level designers like Michael Kors, and then from there into Gucci, if that's what's important to you, if that's something you value. But it's that incremental growth that moves you there, that feels so much easier, that you barely notice. But in 5 years' time, you look back and you're like, wow, I never thought I would be this kind of person. Like, just before we finish up, I want to share a story of one of my clients, because we did this at my retreat where I have all my clients come together from Success Without Sacrifice. We spent 2 days together and we worked really deeply into the feminine mindset of business and how to approach business as a woman and how to expand into the person that we need to become for our next big goal. And she was beating herself up a bit. She was like, I really thought that I'd further. I really thought my life was more of what I want it to be, but I've got all these goods here. And just earlier, she'd shared how the very first paycheck she got after she left her husband was $3,000. And she was so excited because she'd never made $3,000 herself. But within a couple of minutes of being excited, she said she stopped at the lights and cried because she suddenly realized that $3,000 needed to pay for everything for the next, I think it was 2 weeks. And it wasn't enough. And she said she just shared this, and then she was kind of saying, well, I thought my life was better. And I said to her, how would that lady who stopped at the lights and cried about the $3,000 have viewed your life now? And she was like, she just wouldn't have been able to comprehend it. And I was like, how would she have scored it? And she was like, it would have been off the charts. Like, she wouldn't even have put the stuff down as premium, because this client's buying, you know, Louboutin shoes and Gucci handbags, and that's her normal, right? That it is totally normal for her to spend $2,000-3,000 on a bag and $1,500 on shoes. And I said, that's the difference, right? I've talked about this before, like measuring backwards, not forwards. I was like, look how far you've come. It's not about where you are going to, because that's your next expansion from here to there. It's about how far you've expanded already. From the lady who sat in her car because she had $3,000 for 2 weeks to cover all of the food for her 4 kids and everything else, to the lady 5 years later sitting in front of me who's going down to the Louboutin shop after our session because she's seen that they've got some new shoes in that she wants to buy, and that's normal. That's what I want for all of you watching, that you can expand in that way. And I'm giving you here a process to do that. So if you'd like the plan, it gives you really clear instructions on there how to use it. Comment below and we will get that PDF over to you. And I would love to hear how you go with it and what your thoughts are on this concept, and what comes up for you when you do this assessment of yourself through the incremental upgrades plan. Because you'll probably find there's some areas that you're doing well in and some that you're like, wow, I'm not doing well over here, and I would really like to work on improving that. So I'd love to hear how this landed for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this concept, and I look forward to hearing how you go with the assessment too. So I will see you guys again next week, and thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be with you, ladies.